Hello, this is Talking with Famous People, and we're here with host Eric, and we're talking about the upcoming Industrial Revolution that is expected to begin within the 2040s. So, ever since the first Industrial Revolution in the 1800s, which was the Mechanical Industrial Revolution, every 100 years or so, there's been a new improvement within the sciences that comes after secularization really that like springs forward new developments for the scientific population so that they focus on one like core science or one subject for a short period of time and then they move on to something else. So this time it's going to be biotechnology. The first time it was mechanical sciences for the first industrial revolution. Second industrial revolution was the atomic sciences. The third was computational sciences, and now I think it's going to be uh, biogenetic sciences, where we start going into the chemical processes of the DNA and understanding how that works. Anyone else?
Don't don't we have to learn about about it first?
Yeah, we already have. We already developed. We've grown organs out of stem cells before.
Yeah, but I don't feel like we know enough for
We
it to
know,
be a
but
big leap. And
I still say we have another 20 years before something big happens. But we're going at a very high pace speed in the biochemical and bioindustrial field. Like I'm really surprised at like the advancements of stem cells and how we can revert normal cells just back to stem cells using certain processes. Like we can do a lot. We don't need to take stem cells from babies anymore. We can get them from like other cells.
I like the
Yeah, they are
four.
3D printing organs too. The 3D printing organs. So,
I
but one of the theories behind this is that with each speculum, uh, there's a rising of financial power as institutional power declines, and the inverse happens going the other way around through the second half of the speculum. So, with a certain civic generation, institutions going to be fortified, and that's going to be protecting the young generation who are going to be the next artist generation into really coming into their own as the order adjusts itself to its new identity.
Okay, well, I like the four-part thing that you mentioned about the mechanical, atomic, computational, and genetic biogenetic. I like that. The other thing you said though is obviously not true because the progression of institutional thickness is constantly getting thicker. It doesn't go through a thinning phase.
No, but like during the '60s, institutions were attacked and come under severe fire and reformation. So the financial powers start to include themselves more into the political order.
But the thing is, the problem with the analogy is that the way political institutions in particular deal with that sort of stress is through scar tissue, creating more political institutions. It's not a it may solve that particular outbreak of disease that it's addressing, which is a good thing, of course. Like to the extent that institutions were enforcing mores that were unacceptable any longer, then those mores are challenged. But you have to understand that in the historical narrative progression, the the
But there are
injustices.
factors that are fighting here. Like there's moral order, which is the social powers that conform our society. Then there's the financial orders, which were the on the high during the '90s, and that became a that catalyzed into the financial crisis. And the financial crisis needed to be addressed, and there were convening political orders that are going on right now that are trying to resolve that financial crisis.
Okay, but you're not saying anything. All this other stuff. I like your mechanical, atomic, computational and genetic stuff. This other stuff is just mushy nonsense. It's not, it doesn't mean anything. All right, so here we are. Then we're on the verge of the genetic bio whatever phase. What do you call it? A sphenulcrum or something? Spectrum? Spectrum?
Select selectum, celestum, or something like that. Selectum.
Scrotum?
Yes, scrotum.
In this particular epoch, or whatever you want to call it, whatever, I'm not going to use that crazy word you were using. This particular stage of the historical progression through these areas of knowledge, what would you imagine that would come after biogenetic?
That's a good question. We haven't gone that far yet.
Anybody?
Probably a space revolution.
Space?
We'll start venturing into space.
What are some of the alternative possibilities to biogenetic now? Okay, since we're not quite actually in this next phase yet, what are some alternate possibilities to biogenetics that it could be if you were wrong?
Probably aerospace, but we've already gone pretty far in aerospace.
How about
how
about nanoness?
Subjects. We're just trying to focus on a new subject to try and get the most output from it.
How about nanotidity?
Nanotechnology, yeah, that's part of the last one with the computer revolution. But that's already gone to the point where Moore's law has become discredited because of already how fast-paced it is. We're already on the quantum level. We already have microcomputers that are atom-wide.
Okay, but not integrated into a useful machine.
Not into useful machines, no.
Okay, so I mean, I think that this model is an interesting way of sort of noting what's happened heretofore, but I think it's unlikely to be representative of what happens going forward because we can see kind of several fronts of ongoing progress and then kind of converging into a single thing. You know, the thing about your nanotechnology converging with your biotechnology is at a certain level, the thing you're making becomes indistinguishable from like a bacteria or something. So, yeah, singularity whoop whoop is that's how you know when it's happened. There's a song. We don't know it yet. It hasn't been invented yet. It's called Singularity Whoop Whoop, and it plays from the heavens when we hit the singularity. It's like you'll be just walking down the street one day, singularity will happen, and just from up like from a big speaker way miles up in the high in the sky, you can't see anything, but you just hear this booming sound. Singularity whoop whoop, and then the rest of the song plays.
Who is the artist?
Well, we don't know yet. That's the only part of the song that's been channeled so far. I don't even know if that's the beginning of the song. I don't know if it's the middle of the song. I just had a brief revelation from God. That song, that's going to play from the heavens. Just that part. The rest of the song, I'm not sure even what it sounds like, but that's maybe a breakdown or something. I just hear the voice, singularity, whoop, whoop, like that. Something like that, yeah. And then everybody starts dancing. That's the other thing, is everybody starts dancing spontaneously. It's like a spontaneous flash mob when the singularity happens.
How would the revolution change your life?
The revolution?
The Industrial Revolution.
The genetic one? The biogenetic one? Well,
yeah.
It might allow me to live.
I mean, I'm going to try and preserve my brain, so...
What for?
Just time.
Just in case I ever want to regenerate myself.
How would you do that?
In the future, when we have the technology, we can either clone me, or we can try and preserve my neurons. We already have a way of preserving neurons so that they don't freeze over and destroy the memories.
But would you still be you?
That's the law. That's a very deep question we should be asking.
He is. You're not answering it.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know.
No, you wouldn't be you.
Nope.
Would it
I-
matter though?
You got to be linked to your body. You got to be linked there
just
somehow, because otherwise there are
because
two of you.
yeah, because they're separate simulations. But if I preserve my brain, my actual simulation creator, then I would just be preserving that. But I want cloning yourself is so useless. There'd be no reason to clone yourself.
Don't you need a body?
Okay, well, what
I
if what if instead of cloning yourself, you could duplicate yourself? Now, cloning yourself means let's take some of my genetic material and let's give birth to a new, exactly the same genetically bow.
Mm-hmm.
You could do that like they did this with this bull, where the owner loved the bull so much. When the bull died, the owner had the bull cloned, so they get exactly the same bull the second time. But the bull didn't turn out the same. In fact, the bull
True.
I got distracted by the chat. You guys are talking about dark shit. I don't know about that. I forgot what I was saying.
You're talking about a bull.
Oh yeah, the bull. Right. So the bull was cloned, and so then he got the same bull that he had before genetically, but it wasn't the same bull at all. In fact, it ended up goring him. And the reason he got it cloned because the first bull was so nice and was such a nice family pet, and he wanted the same bull again. But this new bull didn't have the same life experiences, so it wasn't the same bull. And that's why there'd be no point in cloning yourself.
Yeah,
But
they couldn't
duplicating yourself would
duplicate
be
the
different.
epigenetics.
You can't duplicate what?
Can't duplicate epigenetics.
Okay, but if you duplicate
Yeah.
rather than clone, then you're saying, let me make every exact cell the same, including all the brain cells, the same as this one. What happens then?
Would you
Yeah, but
even
if it-
still? Would
If
you
it was
even
developed
still
in
look
the
like
same
yourself?
environment,
Right, hold on, one at a time. Unify, what were you saying?
Would you even still look like like if you think about a brother and a sister, same genetics, but they look different. If you start from the bottom with the same genetics and you replicate a body with the same genetics you had before, you might look different.
Well, identical twins don't stay identical forever. They get increasingly different looking over the course of their lives.
Yeah.
But I think you still start out the same looking. But now, Hami, what were you saying?
yeah, the problem is that the organism that was cloned would have to grow up in the same exact environment and go through the same exact situations to be exactly like you.
Okay, so yeah, that's the cloning
Original.
issue. But now let's
Yeah.
talk about duplication. Duplication imagines that instead of cloning and ending up with a living sapient being that that has its own set of life experiences and therefore is necessarily distinct, there's a duplicate of you, which says it matches every cell exactly as everything that's happened to you right now. So every cellular notation that exists in you of your own identity and your memories, your life history, etc., is implanted on this newly manifest, fully grown adult body with a brain and stuff. And then let's say the scientist can somehow, shoot a little electricity up his butt and he's alive now all of a sudden. Okay, at that moment, both parties' life experiences are exactly the same insofar as the life experiences are contained anywhere physically within the body, which it seems to me they must be in some degree or another, in the brain or something like that, So in that case, you've got two people who are exactly identical existentially as well as physically. A person's been duplicated. Does that mean that the duplicate, like that your consciousness just suddenly appears in the duplicate person, or is it two different copies of the same consciousness? And would you in that instance you'd say to yourself, well, obviously I'm still me and he's not me, right?
Yeah, I think it depends on which simulation is the master control. So, whichever is viewing the entire, like, the whole. So as long as they're viewing different separate realities, so their simulation is altered.
Right. Well, as soon as life starts, yeah. As soon as they're turned on. Let's say they get a person, they put you in they make you unconscious with nitrous oxide, and then they duplicate you, and they make the duplicate unconscious, and then they wake you up for like one split second. Your life experience is exactly the same before you quite open your eyes. Even then, it's slightly different because in your state of groggily consciousness attaining, the temperature is slightly different in that 5 feet of room than this 5 feet of room, something like that. But basically, for a split second, you're exactly the same.
It's like that problem of if you have an infinite amount of universes, right, or dimensions, and you have your life, which is possible for somebody else to be living exactly the way your life is. Their life is exactly like your life, right? But it is a different consciousness. Everything that happens to you has happened to them, but that doesn't make you you, or them you.
So what is it that makes you you? Is it your body? Is it this particular body? Like a duplicate of it is a copy of it. It's a different body. It's not this body, and that's why it's not the same person, or what?
Also, your developmental phase before you're conceived could play a role too.
True.
In how you function.
Well, I think it boils down to location in space. That you are a distinct you because of your location in space. It's that simple. Like, well, because I'm over here and he's over there.
True.
Interesting. Okay, anything else you want to talk about this this biomedical utopia of yours, where everyone gets wings surgically attached to their back and they fly around?
Not
Is that
really.
gonna happen?
I hope so.
I want wings.
That's my dream.
What kind of wings do you
Wait,
want?
when do you think like scientists will be able to stop the limit of your cells reproducing?
I
So like, so you can extend your life basically because your cells have a certain amount of time they could duplicate.
Yeah, I know. But I'm not sure if that's an effect of like it decaying or something wrong with something within the genetic code itself. So we're not even sure if it's possible yet because we don't know the cause.
If what's possible?
I mean, if you can just edit out a different area of the gene, but that implies that it's the genome that's causing it.
Causing what?
For it to not be able to multiply so many times.
Is it about cancer?
Any cell.
Might be at that limit now.
I mean, maybe we can construct a new cell which will be able to withstand so many replications, but I don't think we'll be able to reverse engineer our cells to be able to do that. I think we need to put new cells within our bodies and regrow ourselves.
Yeah.
And also, cloning could still work. Because as long as you use the embryonic cells, you clone that. It doesn't shorten your lifespan.
There's got to be some easier way to deal with this. Ideally, I'd take a pill. Take a pill one time when you're 80 and it lasts 100 years or something. You know, that'd be a much better solution.
We might be at that limit. I feel like no amount of healthy eating or no amount of no medicine would slow down the deterioration of your 80-year-old body enough to make you last that long, 100 years after
Or you can take so many cells out of your body and input new ones so that they multiply with a new genetic engineering super body or something.
That's way too complicated. But besides that, we already know there are certain species. There are certain species that live for hundreds of years, turtles, sharks, shit like that, right? That they don't deteriorate in the same way that humans do. And so we have to figure out what it is that causes this. But see, the problem is, I suspect it's going to.
If it's genetic, that's the problem. We don't know if it's genetic or something that has to do with the holes mixing together, so that all of them working together fail.
Well, what I was going to posit was that it may have something to do with manner of consciousness. That the manner of consciousness is what determines the extent to which a species can, in fact, persist and age beyond a certain period of time. It would
The
make
consciousness revolution is over. We have to think beyond that.
That's so non-responsive to what I said. That's shockingly non-responsive, and because it implies I said something totally different than what I said. The point I said is that if you're looking at species, right, and you're saying, how are we going to attain what these biologics demonstrate as a different carrying capacity on this particular mechanism than we do, a preferable one from our perspective. What is the reason why they have this increased carrying capacity? And you're saying, well, it might be mush. What I'm saying is it might be linked specifically to on an axis to consciousness, because we do know that certain kinds of creatures with certain manners about them are the ones that have this thing, not aging thing down. So there might be a correlation there. It's something to consider. Not that that's the answer to anything, right?
What about nanites?
Go ahead.
What about what?
Nanites, where we have like miniature robots that are constantly repairing our cells.
Yeah.
What's powering the robots?
Energy intake, like.
You want to stop this video?
I want to know what's powering the robots first.
Oh, okay.
See, the problem is we are human, so it like brain power we have, it takes a lot of energy to keep it going.
What's powering the nanobots? How small are the batteries? They're super nano batteries. Alright, well, let's end this video. How do you power nanobots? I don't know.
I don't know.
Very, very, very small extension cords. Thanks for watching.